Lacey Grantz.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am doing so good. I am so happy to have you on this show. It has been years. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I have my friend Lacey with me. We have known each other. How long ago did we meet? Do you know that?
Oh gosh.
Are you afraid to age yourself? Are you afraid to age yourself? Because I'm afraid to age myself a little bit with that. I just realized.
It was a good
It was 2005.
15.
It's 2005. It had to have been 2005 or 2006. Sorry,
Yeah, 2006. Yeah, around that time.
Well, I am so thankful. We have known each other for years. I am so thankful that you are here and that you are tuning in. To anyone who's watching us on YouTube and to those of you watching right now on Facebook, this is my friend Lacey Grantz. She is a writer. She is a bit of a life coach. She has always been for me an inspiration, and so I wanted to have her on our show, and I wanted to get her involved in just kind of talking about writing with us. One of the things I love to do is discuss talk about writing with writers, discuss why we write, the reasons behind some of our songs, and the reasons behind some of our books and stories and scripts and comedies. And so that's why I started this up. I just wanted to kind of dive in. So I've invited my friend Lacey. How have you been handling this year, Lacey? How have you been handling the year from hell?
I know. One day at a time. I'll say that much. But I always try to look for the light and everything. I feel like it's easy to get drawn to the bad, and I feel like this year really taught us to value the little things in life. And from toilet paper to family time, I think it's easy to take these things for
Yeah.
granted.
What is with the toilet? Why is it that the second anything goes wrong, the second anyone
Like
gets nervous, first thing everyone goes for is toilet paper.
it's like gold.
It's gold. It's gold. Well, no, because I understand. I mean, I guess I understand it. I understand it, but I just don't feel like that's gonna be. I feel like whenever there's a pandemic or something, the toilet paper companies need to just start ramping it up. Because anyway.
Well, now we know for future.
Yeah, yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't happen again, but you never know.
Well, and that's such a good positive outlook, Lacey, and that's one of the reasons that I have loved you for years and wanted to get you on the show because we try to be a positive inspiration to people, and you have been such a positive inspiration in my life, and you are such a you're just such a ray of light. So how do you how you've just been handling this year, just kind of taking it, going with the flow?
Yeah, I feel like so it's easy to try to think about the future all the time, especially whenever so much is going on, or we kind of get lost in things. And I've always felt like time is life's most precious commodity. And I
Yeah.
also feel like we take it for granted, the time that we have on this earth. And I think that also this year has taught us that we kind of need to live in the moment. We didn't really have a choice to know what was going to happen the next day or after that, or if we were going to we could get sick or we couldn't be here the next day, and I
Yeah.
think that we really had to learn to value that time is life's most precious commodity. And that's how I've got through this year. I've just learned to really value each day and be grateful for my health and grateful for my family and friends' health and just appreciate the little things like toilet paper.
Time is life's most valuable commodity. That
Yeah.
is so truer words have never been spoken. I think one of the things about our time, we spend our time endlessly on on our phones.
Mhm.
For those watching it on their phones, on our computers, I think that's so true to remember that your time is very very valuable, and what you do with your time um, is I think one of the most important things that you can consider on your just in the 24 hours that you have in a day. What can you accomplished in that time. I love. Whenever you say that, that's just one of my favorite
Oh,
thoughts.
yeah, I think yeah, we just forget that each day we're given is a gift. And
Yeah.
it really is a gift. And I think that we just get so caught up in every day, the monotonous day of life and what's going on and if we're having a bad day or this or that, we just forget to really value it. And I hope that if anybody is watching, they just realize that time really is life's most precious commodity. And money comes and goes, everything, toilet paper comes and goes. We just need to really value
Yeah.
every minute we have with
Yeah.
everyone that we have.
Yeah, and that's such a thank you for that's and ladies and gentlemen, this is the reason why I love my dear friend Lacey Grantz. So one of the things that I've always known about you, Lacey, is that you have a history with dance. You have a history with gymnastics. You have history with it. What do you call that out in Texas? Is it dance? It's not cheer. It's not like cheer. It's not the cheerleading.
Drill team.
It's the what? Drill team?
Drill team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if that's out in Texas. I say that, but it's like that was the only time that I was ever involved in football,
Mhm.
other than college football. But high
Mhm.
school football out in Texas was that was a beast. They were the Friday Night Lights scenario is very real, and those were some fun games. And to watch the performances were it was a show. You went there for more than just a lot more than just the game. Um,
Oh yeah, definitely.
so anyway, I know that you have a history with a lot of things that I would break my leg trying. Where did that begin? What was that kind of genesis for you? How did that start?
I actually didn't dance growing up my whole life. I had tried out for cheerleader in middle school, and that just wasn't my thing. And whenever it was time to go to high school, I tried out for it was called Raiderettes because I'm from Lumberton, a little town in Texas, and I made it the first year, but my parents that it was much to their surprise because in their words, I was like a baby deer at the time when I danced, and so I had to come a long way, but I worked
Wait, what did you
very.
do? What was the baby deer? What was it that made you a baby deer? What did you do?
When a baby deer is born and they're trying to walk and they're just kind of stumbling. That's
Uh,
that's how my dance career started.
okay.
But I was, when I start things in life, I really put everything in it and I give it my 100% and I don't
Yeah.
stop and I practice, hours and hours and hours and I just put the time in and again, time.
Yeah.
And I really flourished and I ended up becoming sergeant, lieutenant, and then captain. So to come to
Wow.
start with like feeling like I barely made the team,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
To end up being captain of the squad was a really large feat for me. And
Yeah, that's you don't just do that overnight. That takes a lot of drilling. That takes a lot of going at it. A lot of you have to be really really driven. Um
yeah,
uh
and I was, yeah.
yeah, and so that drive, that kind of that thing that you have, where do you find where do you find that drive to dance at that age to say that I don't feel comfortable cheerleading, but
Yeah. I think, if anybody knows me really well, they know that art in any form is just me. Like I think that some of us are born like you're a musician, right?
right,
And it's just in you. Like
right,
it's in you to love art and all various forms of it. And I feel like with cheerleading is very I don't feel like it's as much of an art form as dance, right? And cheerleading is a great
okay,
sport, don't get me
yeah, I was
wrong.
gonna, yeah,
Yes, it is a great sport.
right,
But I felt like with dance, I could be a little more free in movement and, just the art of dance.
yeah.
So that's what drew me to dance more so than cheerleading.
Now you said you didn't grow up doing. Where did you? What was the first? Where was the start exactly?
So growing up, I did do cheerleading actually, like little squads and stuff like that,
Okay,
just
that's
not
what that is.
full cheerleading. Yeah.
Right,
So I kind of started there, and I did ballet when I was 2, but I don't really count that. You do it when you're 2 and then you stop.
right.
But other than that, I kind of just evolved into it, and then I fell in love with it, to be quite honest, you know. And drill team's a little bit of both. So drill team is you know, it's hard to explain, you know. It's very strict dance squad, and it's
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
you
it
do
is. It's hard to explain, and it also, but it's a really awesome. And I don't know. I like I say, I don't know if every school has it. Do they all have it? I don't remember if our school did when I was
um
growing up.
I don't know, you know, to be quite honest. I know it's really huge in Texas,
Yeah, it
clearly.
is. Yeah.
Uh,
Or
but
maybe
I'm
I
not.
just didn't know about it because I wasn't hanging out with you at the time. But that but yeah, I know that watching the drill team. Or do they do like like drum corps international? Do they do things like that, like
I'm not sure.
competitions?
Well, yeah, I know that they used to when I was in high school, but when I was in there at the time, we didn't do any competitions. But
And
so I assume they still had them going on. We just didn't enter them.
was that the Raiderettes?
Yes, the
Okay,
Raider.
so the Raiderettes was that's the one where you, if I'm not mistaken, is that the one where you have to kick up really high in order to get in? Like, is that how it was, or was that
Yeah, so you had to, and that's drill team, right? You're in
Yeah.
the uniform and you're in a uniform line and you're, you know, jump kicking is what you're calling it,
Right.
and you're
Yes.
going to kick your face or your hat.
Yeah.
And it's and so we would do that, and then around springtime we would have a show where we could do more modern dancing or hip hop or jazz, things like that. It was more of the art form of dance and not so much the strict military drill team, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I know that's another thing. I remember hearing about the lipstick on the knee. You had to leave
Yeah.
lipstick on your knee from kicking up. Um,
Red lipstick all the time, red lipstick. You had to have a smile the whole time, the whole routine. You
what
can't
is the
break.
association with the Rockettes? Is there an association?
Not so much the Rockettes as it is the Rangerettes. I think the Rangerettes
The
was the
Rangerettes.
team.
Okay.
Yeah. And then after that started all the high school drill teams. And so, but the Rockettes, they kick as well, but I don't believe they kick as high. I think
Yeah.
that they have a certain level they kick to, but they're beautiful.
You don't wait. So wait. So the Rockettes don't kick as high?
I believe they don't. No.
Okay.
I think that there's a certain level that they kick to that they have to.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And so and we're just talking. This is like Friday nights, in at school.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. And those are I just had to talk about that because I went to a few. We would just kind of travel because you teach, did you instruct? I don't know. We would go from like school to school and you would watch. I know that.
Yeah, at the time I did instruct. I I did lessons and stuff, and then
Right.
because I was captain, I was in charge of the team. So of course I had to direct and you know, choreograph the dances and really teach them, and you know, repetitively go over them and fix things and critique things. Um,
Yeah.
and,
But
and then
it's really incredible the energy that it brings to a game, the energy that it brings to the whole stadium is I like I say it's necessary for a lot of games, but I think mainly like I say a college games are what I went to, and I do remember like people with flags. I don't know if that's the same thing. Probably should have
um,
come into this a little bit more
we don't
educated on this
have
portion.
we had like streamers at times, and
Okay.
Lumberton's really known. The Raiderettes are known for their derrick routine. So I'm sure if you Google like the oil derrick routine, Lumberton Raiderettes, that'll pop up, and it was a really big deal in our town because you know Beaumont for the oil,
Right.
um, and
Oh,
we
spindle tops out there, right?
yes, yes, and
Yeah.
we had these derricks created that kind of looked like those, and we did a dance around them, and it was really neat. And then somebody would at the end of the routine climb up to the top, and they would go like this, and they would like jump off. I feel like
Would there be oil that came out of it? Did you have
yeah,
like
no, just the person jumping off looked like oil. They were like flying
I
and
got you.
catch them. So it was a really great. We loved that routine. Anytime we could do derrick was just
That's
like
fun.
exciting. Yeah.
That's fun. Okay, so these routines you took it to the stage. It was more than just like in the football field and during football games. That was a lot. I know that's the history that I know of it is that it was just a lot of your it took up a lot of your life at one point in time. Um
Mhm.
So where are you from? Other than you've told us Lumberton. Where? Tell us a little bit about your background, your history.
Yeah, so I was born in Beaumont, which is right next to Lumberton, and we moved to Lumberton when I was about 5. So clearly, I don't really remember much of Beaumont from 1 to 5. And then from there, I grew up in Lumberton, and then you and I met in Beaumont when I was a young one. Some days I wish we could rewind time,
Oh
like
man,
it's life's most precious commodity. I mean, if only we could have a rewind button just for one
I'm
day.
telling you that those
Yeah.
days. Well, and I mean the like I said, that would have been 2005. So those days were a lot of fun. I mean, I'm in my 30s now. Those days were that was my prime. That was a ton of fun. So yeah. So
We had
go on. Sorry.
yeah. No. Um, and then, after our journey, whenever you moved from Beaumont, I moved to Houston. So it was kind of like, and then from there, I've been in Houston. I'm in the Woodlands right now, but which is basically a suburb of Houston,
Mhm.
and I've been here ever since. I've been here 12 years now, I think. So yeah.
So when you were teaching uh with like you taught gymnastics, didn't you teach gymnastics?
Yes. So when I lived in Beaumont, and this was around 2006, I graduated in '06, and I got a job at it was Olympic Dreams. That was the name of it.
That's
And
right. Yeah.
yes. And so initially I was working on the cheerleading and dance side because I do have a background in cheerleading. So I do have a love for it. I just evolved more into the dance form.
Yeah.
But and as I was there, I had never done gymnastics at the time, right? I was teaching dance lessons there as well, and I kind of just evolved over into the gymnastics area, and they loved me there because I was really strict. And gymnastics is a very strict sport, which is funny for people to hear of me because they're like, "Oh, Lacey's so sweet." And whatever. Just like, no, do it again. Like
Yeah.
back up on the beam. You know what I mean? Um, and gymnastics has to be a strict sport. It's a difficult sport. I mean, props to anyone who does gymnastics. I'm just like, wow. Anytime
Yeah.
I see
Oh
them,
my God.
performing it on the beam and on the bars, it's a tough sport.
It's a
But
lot of fun to watch, man. Gymnastics is incredible. The things that people can do with their bodies blows my mind.
mhm. And the fear they conquer doing it, right? Because
Yeah.
they're tumbling on a beam that's like this wide,
Yeah. Yeah.
or they're on the bars and they're flipping between bars, or just the tumbling in itself. It's a lot. But as I evolved there, I became the choreographer for the floor routines for the level 8 and 9s, and level 8 and 9s right before you start to enter closer to the Olympics. And that was a lot of fun because so when you're in the lower levels, you have a routine that everybody does. It's like the same routine, it's very uniform, the same music.
Hmm.
But as you get into the higher levels, you can pick, like, I remember I did one to a theme song from Pirates of the Caribbean, and that one was so fun. I just remember like having so much fun creating that piece for the gymnast, and then seeing them do it was just incredible. But Olympic Dreams isn't there anymore, but it was a great memory, and I still follow a few of the girls that I created the floor routines for on Facebook, and one of them has 2 kids and a beautiful family, and I'm like, wow, I feel so old,
Uh, well, don't we all at this point? I understand.
I
Um,
know, I'm like so happy for her, and I'm just like, gosh, it really ages you when you see your students
yeah,
having.
that's exactly right. I was a camp counselor in 2004, 2003, 2004. I was a camp counselor, and so in those kids have graduated. Those kids have kids. It's
I know.
weird. It's weird. So okay. So enough about how we're getting old. You have also been you instructed. I don't want to stop on this part. Just you instructed the team on the Texas Wildcatters at one point. I remember that. I had to go to something
I
out there.
did.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh,
because I was going out and watching I was going out and watching that's a hockey team, by the way, in Texas. I know, guys. But that's a hockey team in Texas, and they had a dance team that would come out and do their stuff, and like GoDaddy would come through with like shirts, and you know what I mean. And while they were doing, yeah, while while they, I'm sorry, Vanessa said never old, older, but not old. That's right, we're getting older. I love it. Thank you, Vanessa. Yeah. But yeah, so I remember I would go to those. I'd go to those performances. Just sometimes we just go into the hockey just to watch whatever you had taught the girls, and it was just so cool. So anyway, like I say, I'm gonna change the subject from that. But I've always thought that was a really fascinating portion of your life. You did a little modeling as well, right?
Yeah, so when I moved to Houston, I worked for a dance studio called Planet Funk Academy. It's still there, and
Oh,
I was
Planet Funk.
yeah,
Okay, I know
uh,
that name.
yeah, because I think we still chatted around that
Oh,
time.
okay, okay.
I think you remember when I moved out there. But I was director of the Junior Slam squad, so that was kind of the peak in my dance career. It was a great time. I loved my kids there. I loved my junior team, and we would produce shows for the Hobby Center. I don't know if you remember the Hobby Center.
Yeah,
It's a big theater in Houston,
yeah.
and we would do kind of cirque-esque shows. And like one was called Crunch, and it was around Halloween, and it was just a very Cirque du Soleil-ish themed, but without as much acrobatic, but and a little more dance, you know.
That's
And
awesome.
we traveled. We did the show in Kilgore, and for that show, I was actually the ghost. And so I was the comedy act of the show. So throughout the routines, I had this like sheet on
Uh
like a
huh.
ghost,
Uh
and
huh.
I would just there would be a number going on, and I would just like ghost on through like dancing or leaping or something,
Okay.
or I would do
So
something funny.
hold on. I'm listening to you talk, and I'm the whole time I'm just sitting here thinking, you okay? The comedy routine. You were the ghost. What? What did you? What did you? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Circle back to this. What did you do? What did you do as a ghost, as a comedy routine?
So because it was Halloween, everything was like themed and there was like thriller and all these dances, but the comedy kind of part of it was in between acts, they would have me do funny things. Like whenever the MCs were talking, they would have me do something really funny from underneath the curtain or something like that. And then
Okay.
everybody would kind of just be like, oh, like where did this
Okay,
go?
that's fun.
Or in the middle of the thriller dance, like I would come out and start doing the like, in this like ghost sheet, and it just everybody would start laughing because like it's such a serious routine, and then they're like, oh, here comes this ghost. But it was just because it was like a Halloween theme. But we really, the point of that was to kind of show you that we would have these. It was like a production almost that we
Yeah.
would. And it wasn't just dancing. We would have acting in it and some comedy and just dance routines, a lot of choreography. There would be a storyline to it. And we did a lot of shows. And I did a lot of shows alone with just my junior team, and it was really incredible. But that was around the time to circle back to your modeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was about the time that I started doing modeling, kind of with the studio a little bit, and then I started getting to know photographers, and I did a little bit of freelance modeling, here and there, not for too long, but I also liked to do kind of shoots on my own if I had an artistic vision in mind, and I had really great friends who were photographers who would kind of bring that to life. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because I have some photos here
Mm-hmm.
that I had found on your Facebook. I
Mm-hmm.
found them on the modeling. Let's see, I can share the screen with you. I'm trying to make sure that you get to see them because I want to ask you about some of them. They're really fascinating. Because I've always thought you were beautiful, and to see that someone can bring that to life. Let me share this screen so you can see. Um, so anyway, so I have this. I've grabbed a few of the pictures that I thought were really spectacular. I wanted to show off. I love this one. This one is oldie. I remember, but I remember that. I remember whenever you. Can you see it? I don't know if you can see it. You look
Yeah.
a little. Okay, good.
I feel like I'm delayed over here, so
Yeah,
sorry.
that's right. Yeah, you are. Yeah. And then you have these like with the hat. Um, So who did some of these pictures? What can you tell us
Yeah.
about some of them?
So that was it's Grant Photo, Grantphoto, and it's my one of my dear friends, Stephen Grant. He actually takes most of my photos. He just did all my recent shoots. Anytime I want a photo shoot or have a vision, I go to him.
I love it. What
He's
about this
incredible.
red one? Is that Grant photo? That's beautiful. I love the red. This one has that
Yes, that was him. So that was an idea of mine, and that was really funny because I came with the fabric and a big tornado fan. Do you know what the tornado fans
Oh
are?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I said, I want to do a blowing fabric shoot. And he's like, okay.
Oh,
And
that's
so it was
awesome.
me, him, and the makeup artist in a garage, right? And this was just when Steven was beginning. I mean, and he's incredible now. You guys
It's
should follow him. It's
flawless.
at Grant Photo, Grantphoto. He's incredible. But I had a fabric wrangler, is what I called her, behind me, and we got to do that photo, and it's actually one of my really cherished photos. I love that shoot.
I love that photo so much. Yes, I agree. And that's so cool to know how you brought that in. Is that the same one with the green one that I have? That I
Yeah.
brought that one. The
So
green.
actually my friend Art took that photo.
Let me see if I can pull that one. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, here it is. Here it is. This is curtain. Hold on. What is it? What is it? Fabric. This is the fabric.
Yes, I think I still see
There
the
we
work.
are. There we are. Yeah, I love this one. How,
So I'll tell you how we created that. So I created a dress out of fabric. So all I'm wearing is fabric right there.
that's
We
awesome.
didn't even make the dress. I literally just tucked it into a bra and wrapped it around me. And so to do this photo, it looks like it was all done at once, right? But it wasn't. It was a series of shots where somebody had to take the fabric and throw it up and run away. And so I'm standing there the whole time like this, and each area you see fabric, someone had to throw it up.
Oh wow.
And then he had to take all of those photos and really pan them together to create this one. And it was a really beautiful piece.
Yeah, that's an incredible that's a work of art. Once I saw that one too, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to share it. These are just some really beautiful. You have lots of really beautiful pictures. I know you went to you went to London. You have some pictures in London that I saw that are really pretty. You just have a lot of great pictures.
Thank you.
I'm always so proud to see that because you and I spent a lot of time together back then. We got to go to this Mexican orphanage and work down there for a while. It's really good to see someone who's progressed and grown in their years. That's one of the things. If when we talk about tonight, tonight's theme is definitely time. Because when you talk about time, it's one of the coolest things is to get to know somebody so well and then spend so much time apart and then get to see how far they've come and look at these incredible pictures. And so you did the modeling, and like I talk about London. You did some traveling as well. Can you tell us a little bit about like where you've traveled to? I know I asked you if you did a travel blog. You should have done a travel, or you could still do one, right? Like you could still do a blog about your past travels, or you write about your past travels. I don't know.
Yeah, so I did launch the Road Lace Traveled, which I'm sure we'll get into because that
Yes, we
has to
will.
do with writing. I initially launched it as a travel blog, and I'm sure that it will continue to be a travel blog. But it's also life writing, kind of the road I traveled in life. But yes, I traveled a lot, and actually, what got me into traveling, I have such a love for travel, and I always have. But what got me into it was after dance. So we hit a little bit of a recession back in, I think it was '08 or '09. And dance was an extracurricular for everybody. And so it was kind of the first thing to go. And so I didn't really have a job. It was kind of like, okay, nobody's taking lessons. I'm not able to choreograph anymore.
Oh, that's
And
a good point because like all the parents who were affluent enough to be able to send their kids to dance lessons were no longer affluent enough to be able to send their kids to dance lessons.
exactly. And
Yeah.
so it was a really tough time. And somebody reached out to me and they were like, hey, would you like to be our nanny? And I was like, I've never changed a diaper in my life, but sure, sounds like a good plan. um, forward, I have been nannying for over 10 years. I've helped raise 10 different children. And sometimes on the side, people will kind of consult me on, how to raise their kids and get through different behaviors or, you know, different regressions or sleep transitions, things like that, because I just have I have some knowledge because I've done it for so long. And
Yeah.
so I love just to be able to help people if they need it. But
So you do a little bit of like that's fascinating. So you do a little bit of like you teach parents how to raise a child. That's insane.
yeah,
You-
kind of.
I mean,
Uh,
you can help them at least. That's a fascinating turn for you because, like I say, you could do anything, and to know that you went into that makes a ton of sense. Um,
yeah.
so you did that, and then you went into um, traveling after nannying, or
So no, it was actually as a nanny is when I
okay,
got to do a lot of traveling. I worked for several really well-to-do families. I was very fortunate to be able to work for them, and they were jet setters, and they took me with them. And often, whenever we would go, they would allow me the time to kind of discover the different cities we were in or countries. And I had a really
wow,
great time just, you know, and that's when I really fell in love with traveling. And I
jeez,
just like this is what
yeah,
I have I always say, I'm really humbled by the creativity of our creator and enamored by the art of nature. And I
yeah.
think that there's a lot of beauty out there. And I just hope to inspire others to get out and enjoy the time that we've been given by traveling and experiencing the world and the beauty and the colors and just the culture, people, and the food. I think there's so much out there.
So what's your favorite place that you visited so far?
Oh, London by far.
Oh yeah, okay. That makes
Mhm.
sense.
Yeah. Have you been?
Oh yeah, I love London.
Yeah, I feel like you and I would just love, you
Oh,
and I London so well together.
absolutely. I had a lot of fun. It was a little bit of a time getting there. We flew from Atlanta to JFK to Heathrow, and by the time you get there, we had a layover at JFK. I think that was like 13 hours, something like that. It wasn't it was a cheap trip there. But whenever we got there, oh, British Airways, by the way, was one of my favorite. I love British Airways. I'll sing their praises. But yeah, once we got there, I remember it being like it had taken us 24 hours to get there. But oh man, the sun was rising, and we came out from our tube station, and we were right at Big Ben. We were across the street from Big Ben, and I was like, I don't care what happens, take my picture. And I just sort of stood there, and I was like, so the picture I have is like me, like fresh out of the tube with luggage, but I'm just like so happy to be in the heart of London. And I don't know why we ended up down there. I don't think that was a wise decision on our part. But anyway, yes. So I love London too. I love London as well. What are some other places that you got to visit?
I've been to Brazil. It was so long ago. I don't remember what because it was a small little area in Brazil that we had went to.
That's
But it was
awesome.
beautiful. It was near the water, huh?
That's awesome. Yeah, Brazil's one place I'd love to go.
Yeah, Brazil was great. I've been to Costa Rica, which was beautiful. Very jungle. I mean, a lot of fun. Uh, Colorful.
Yeah, how was your how is you went to Mexico, but I don't remember. Do you know any Spanish? Are you any no? Look at that
No
face.
hablas español.
Yeah, no, you learned that. Okay, well done. I spent some time in Miami, and I think that was one of my favorite traits I learned was a little bit of just un poquito, no, just enough to literally get me by in Mexico whenever I go back. Because I really want to go, but that was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun down there when I went with you. I went with the traveling drama company that I was with years and years and years ago and that was those were some pretty lasting memories. Mexico's an amazing place. Like I say, I always try and tell people to get down to Mexico anytime they can. It's
Yeah.
really beautiful, and I know a lot of there are a lot of people that are pushing. There's like a big push to move to Mexico. A lot of people are moving into Mexico, which I think is interesting.
Mhm.
But we did
Yeah.
we you and I we had a lot of fun down there. Well, fun. We were working, but it was a lot of fun. Um,
Yeah. We love those kids though. They were great.
So, so basically the reason I invited you on this show, not only are we, no, I absolutely love you, but you're a writer, and you have a kind of a great wellspring of knowledge to write from. Y- I know that in our past you were very devotional, and you and some other friends of ours were really big on kind of keeping diaries or journals, and keeping
Yeah.
blogs, and I've always been really bad at it. I've always anything I've ever written, I write on a computer, and it stays as like a text document.
Mhm.
Yeah. So anyway, you had you. It's I want to hear a little bit about your history with writing. When did you begin kind of feeling like a writer?
Yeah, so I think I've always had a, not always, but when I was 18, I started to have such a passion for writing. And I think I knew at that point that I was going to write a book, but I didn't know what about. And I had told people at the time, I was like, I'm going to be an author one day. Like I just was sure of that.
Yeah.
But I hadn't experienced life quite yet. I was 18. I didn't really know what I was going to write about. I just knew I had a passion to write, and not just write anything. More or less a self-help book. I always knew it'd be that. I knew it'd be something inspiring because I feel like I just love to inspire other people and really help them see life from my perspective because I try to, like in the beginning, when you asked about the pandemic, I try to look at the light in situations. And I feel like if I can kind of radiate that light out
Hmm.
and really have somebody say, I was looking at it a little darker with a darker perspective, and you
Hmm.
kind of brought me around to the light and helped me see it in a different way, and helped me. So I always knew it would be a kind of a self help book. I just didn't
Yeah.
know what. And as the years went by, I started writing, and I kind of created a Facebook page under Lacey Grantz, my name, and it was one of those like the pages you kind of like or follow. And I had done a lot of those writings have been taken down, but I had done a lot of writing at the time, and I remember I was getting a lot of messages, and people were just like, "Wow, like what you wrote really impacted my life, or it really inspired me," and I really picked that up. But life happened in between then and now, so this was around 2014, 15. I was writing a lot, and then I kind of dropped it. A lot of things were going on in life, and my father passed away a year ago, and you know, again, talking about time, I think that that's when I really realized that I needed to stop putting my dreams on the back burner. My father died at 62. That's young. And he really loved life, and he loved living it to the fullest, and he really told us to do that all the time. And I felt like I was always you know, I'm very caring and compassionate, but I was always lending my hand everywhere else that I forgot to kind of look within and say, what does Lacey want to do? What does Lacey really want to do in life? And, when you lose a parent, um, you're really forced to kind of really reflect and think about things. And especially if you're really close to that parent. And you kind of just reconsider life in itself, and you reconsider what you're doing and how you're going about it. And that's when I started picking up my love for writing again and just really putting my emotions on paper and living it out. And it wasn't until recently, though, that I knew that my book would be about. And long story short, it's about love. Um, and lessons in love. I've had a lot of relationships in life, and one a few months back that something happened, and I'll just say I broke my rule, and I have a really strict rule, and I broke that.
Oh.
And you'll have to read the book when
Yeah.
it comes out eventually to find out what happened and kind of the whole story of it and everything. But after that, I kind of um, went down into an abyss of all these emotions, and I kind of started surfacing a lot of things, and I realized a lot of things in that, and I kind of started recognizing patterns that we have in relationships
Hmm.
or things like that. And I realized, I said, I'm supposed to be writing about lessons in love, and and really it's the book is going to be about how to ameliorate growth in future relationships by recognizing the patterns and pain that we carry forward into future relationships and how to kind of release those patterns and how to kind of find wholeness within ourselves, because I think sometimes we really lean on somebody else to complete us, but if you're not complete in life, nobody can ever complete you, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and
And
history has a tendency of repeating itself, and that's one of the reasons why they always say, no, don't forget, never forget. That's why we always say never forget when it comes to 9/11. We know the worst things, and the worst things that can happen, and that's why we always want to remember. Um, yeah, so that's interesting.
yeah, and I think we carry that forward, and I realized it kind of just clicked, and I realized I've had every type of relationship I think anyone can have, and I really took the time to look at each of them and learn from each of them. You know, it's kind of like, so what did I learn from this relationship? And I learned, and I'm like, wow, wow, wow. As I looked at all of them, and I just took a step back, and I was like, I think from where I stand, I can help a lot of people. And so I started, you know, hands to keyboard, and I was
Yeah.
like, go, we're starting this book, you know.
So how do you what is your writing? Do you have like a writing ritual? How do you get in the zone to write? Is it
Oh God,
is it such a passion for you that you just kind of have to sit down and do it? Is that where you are right now, or do you have any kind of?
no. So
Okay.
I wish.
Yeah.
It's really difficult to just sit and be inspired, right? You, and as a writer, and you probably know this, like it takes you either going through something to be
Hmm.
inspired, right? That's, I mean, as a musician, you really take pain or the thing lessons you go
We
through.
talked about that a few weeks ago. Just about how when we write songs, sometimes for me, writing a song out of pain or heartache can be a lot easier than writing a song in happiness. Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
And
And
I think there's a study on that. I need to look that up, but I'm pretty sure there's a study on
yeah, I'm sure there is.
that.
And
There has
you
to be one.
you can really move in pain. Let me tell you,
Right.
you can turn pain into purpose, and that's how what people should do. You
Hmm.
know, and anybody I'm talking to out there, if you're going through pain, heartache, anything you're going through in life that is causing you a lot of pain, turn that into purpose, because so much can come out of that. So much can come out of that pain that would
Yeah.
really drive you to be your best self. And anyway, to I have to be inspired. So, and I'm really inspired by the ocean. Just the ocean speaks of me.
So what do you go out? You go out to the beach and write? Is that a
Yeah,
that's
I try to when I have time. You know, if I don't,
lovely.
say what?
I said that's lovely.
Yes. But I don't always have time, and so sometimes I'm in my room looking at four walls, and I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
I've got I gotta crank it out. Like, it doesn't matter if I'm inspired or not. But you
Yeah.
know, I think as a writer, we're so artistic that to kind of spark that, artistic creativity, you kind of have to be inspired in the moment, and and
Sure.
and you're not always there. It's not always let me open my laptop and I'm right there. It takes a lot of focus and getting in the zone, but you know, I'll write anywhere if I
Yeah.
need to.
Yeah. I wanted to. I was thinking because I moved down to South Beach. I lived there for a few years, and I wanted to write. I had this kind of uh, um, this fantasy that I was going to get down to the beach and just spend all my time, with a guitar and my feet in the water and just writing. And
Mhm.
well, I don't. I'm pretty sure I could have, but not in South Beach. That place was, flooded with tourists 24/7, and so it wasn't exactly that kind of place. I actually found myself having a little bit less inspiration and having to lock myself up into silent areas to get away from people. So it turned out to be something exactly the opposite of what I was looking for.
Right? Everybody's so different. I
Yeah.
think I always say people aren't cookie cutters, right? We're not all one shape, one size. Like
Yeah.
we're all
So so you like to do the beach? Do you have any other kind of things that you do to get ready for a writing session for a good long? Say you have a day off to yourself and you can just write all day. What would be? You have the beach.
No, I really just kind of put myself back in the shoes I was in when I was going through that pain. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
I try to kind of revert back to the pain that provided that purpose. And I try to put
That's
myself
good.
back in the feelings as hard as it is. You don't really want to relive it. But if I kind of pull myself back into it a little bit, I'm like, okay, I kind of feel that and let me move in
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I understand. I think if I do that in songwriting, sometimes it can come across as a little bit too deep for, but that's songwriting. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it can come across, if I do that in songwriting, it can come across as like too personal or too much or, you know. But I think you're exactly. But that's what you have to do. That's what I have to do when I write the song. So I have to be. I just have to be careful when I'm writing, not to sound like I am literally in that moment again. Because you can do that. You could find. You can put yourself back into a moment to say I want to. I know I have something in there that'll come out of me and inspire or encourage someone else
Mhm.
in my pain. I can help other people thrive through their pain. What is it? The monks say it's a life is pain. You have to help. You just have to help everybody through. Um,
Yeah.
and I believe in that wholeheartedly. I know we
Yeah.
went to. I wanted to say this. I didn't mention this earlier. We went to this really awesome, Lacey. I just want to talk about this for a second
Yeah.
because I
Of
want to
course.
come back. I want to come back because I don't want to finish it. We still have the road less traveled. But
Uh-huh.
you took me on a trip one time to Dallas, Texas, around this time of year. I think it may have been like closer to Christmas. I don't know, but the Adolphus Children's Parade,
So the Neiman Marcus Adolphus
the Neiman
Children.
Marcus Adolphus Children's Parade.
Yes.
That thing was one of the most precious experiences of my entire life. We stayed in this old hotel,
Yeah.
the Adolphus Hotel. It's attached to the first. Isn't that the first Neiman Marcus? Like I don't know if that's. I know the first one came from Dallas, but I don't know if that's.
It might have been. It might have been.
But I do remember they had like $1 million Christmas tree, a tree that was shredded $1 million bill, like a shredded, like a million $1 bills that were shredded. They had,
That's insane. I can't even remember that. That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
Yeah, but I remember because when I was in drill team, we would perform every year. We were the opening number with several other drill teams in Texas. So we would all come together and learn this Christmas routine, and we would open up the parade,
yeah.
like kind of like when you watch, on the Macy's
It's
Thanksgiving Day.
exactly like Macy's. It's just like Macy's. And there's a million people out there. It feels like you're at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
I can
But
feel
it's
the
Christmas.
energy, and that's why I loved it. That's why I wanted to take you guys because I
They
was
did
like,
hot chocolate. I remember that.
yes, and the Adolphus is so beautiful and historic.
Mm,
It's a great place to stay, and just
God.
it gets you in the Christmas spirit.
Yeah.
You watch them perform, and then you see all the floats. But I assume this year it's probably not
Oh, I
happening.
guess it's yeah. I was gonna ask about that. Is it? I haven't. That was the only year I went, but it was such a wonderful memory that I had to bring it up. Okay, so tell me about the road Lace traveled.
Yeah. So again, after my father died, I kind of had to
Dad
look
was
with.
an awesome man, by the way. I loved him. I got to sit and chat with your dad. I'm sorry. I got to sit and I'm sorry. I got to sit and chat with your dad for a little while about music. I was at your house. He had a like a pool table and a piano kind of sitting next to each other. And I remember I was sitting. He asked me to play piano for him, and I was playing piano for him. And he just had like he was like educating me on music. Anyway, he was a sweet man.
was he was incredible. He was an
Yeah.
incredible, God loving, family oriented, just humble man, and he worked very hard. He
Mhm.
gave us a beautiful life, and he really worked hard to help others and do for others, and that's where I got my heart to serve people and help people was really from him and my mom. They're both incredible. And I'll say one thing about my dad loved music, and you know that because
Yeah.
he sat with you and wanted you to play.
Yeah.
And one thing he always told me, so I did promise him two things before he passed away. I promised him I would learn how to play golf and I would learn how to play the piano. I haven't started the piano yet, but I have started golf lessons. So,
we'll have to schedule some appointments. Yeah.
yes, yes,
We'll do some lessons
there we go.
appointments.
But he always said music is the one thing no one can take away from you. He said no matter how old you get, um, you lose traits and your memory and different things like that, but he said music always stays with you, and he's like, that's the one thing nobody can take from you.
That's
And he
right.
was like, if I could teach you guys anything, he's like, I wish that you would have learned an instrument at a young age, which I do too. Because he's like, I still in my 60s, I pick up the guitar and I can play a song, and nobody can take that from me, till the
Yeah.
day I.
I love
So
that. That's fascinating too. Music, no one can take that away from you. That's fascinating. If you even if you don't have an instrument on you, if you can sing, if you got any kind of talent for rhythm, nobody can take that away from you. That's beautiful.
and you have it forever, yeah, and it's a skill you can use forever.
So
It's
he
not
and
like,
yeah, no, no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, it's fine. It's not like dance where, as I get older, you can dance like a little bit, but I'm not going to be able to like leap and turn
Right.
and be so fluid like I was, when I was 20.
Yeah. So you have used you used your dad as an example while you were talking about road lace travel and how you got that started.
Yes. Sorry, I digress.
No, no, no. I love it. No, that's I'm.
um, yeah, I really just kind of took a step back and was like, what can I launch that would kind of really, because I can publish a book, but I almost wanted to have an audience that I could help so that they knew the book was there. It's
Mm.
like I could publish a book, but who's going to buy it? Like, I mean, you and my mom might,
Yep. Yep.
but it's like, like, I mean, I would love to be able to help many. It's not about me, it's about who I can help. And I always say, if my writings only help one person, then I've done my job. But I would love to be able to kind of reach a bigger crowd. And at the same time, I love to travel, and I was traveling kind of a lot at the end of last year and this year, kind of before COVID hit. And I had a lot of traveling planned, but life changes things. And I was like, what can I do? And then it just kind of came to me because my name's Lacey and so Lace, and the road less traveled. And I feel like I really have always taken the road less traveled in life. Like I don't really follow the crowd. I'm just kind of like, what's unique, what's different, what perspective can I look that's different than everybody else. I'm not going to follow the crowd. I want to be a leader. I want to be somebody people look up to and admire to help them. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to launch the road Lace traveled, and create it as kind of like a travel blog to inspire people to, really be enamored by the art of nature, and be humbled by the creativity of our creator, and just see the world that is out there. And
Hmm.
at the same time, I said, the road Lace travel could also be the road I travel in life. And so at the time, it was gonna kind of be, and it still probably will be, kind of a mix of both travel and life journey. And I'll start to kind of publish writings on that website. So it's the roadlacetravel.com. And there's some traveling photos up there right now. There is one post kind of explaining what brought me to the road lace travel. So that one post will tell you what kind of brought me there. But I
I
also
love it.
have on Instagram at the Road Lace Traveled, and if you go on Facebook and do at the Road Lace Traveled, it'll pull up my inspirational Facebook page, and you'll start to see a lot of writings on love lately, because that's kind of my thing right now, is lessons in love. And so there's a lot of those writings
I
that are
love
kind
that.
of tied into my book. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's exactly that's the kind of person you are. That's what I've always loved about you is the ray of light, the love aspect, the fact that you always are trying to help others, encourage others. This is something you've done your whole life. It's one of the reasons why I definitely think that you are somebody worth um, tuning into whenever you are writing. Your writings are beautiful. I've been following you. Your writings are really inspirational, encouraging. If you do need that kind of like pick me up, the weekly pick me up, the daily pick me up, that's what Lacey has for you, and that's at your Facebook with the that's at the Facebook, right? Is that the Road Lace Travel?
Yeah.
That's not the Road Lace Travel is a separate travel blog, right?
Well, yeah, but so Facebook now has this thing kind of
Or I
like,
don't know what I'm talking about. Go on.
oh, no, good. It kind of has this thing in the search bar where you can go the @ sign, the road lace traveled. And in Facebook, if you do that, it will pop up my Lacey Grantz page that you can like or follow.
Okay.
And you really read a lot of the writings that I've done recently. I also posted a poem that I usually don't post my poems, but I posted a poem that I had written a little while back. And so there's a lot of writings on there. And then if you go to @ the road lace traveled on Instagram, you'll see a lot of writings as well.
That's
So
awesome. So I want to say that to be able to chat with you tonight for this hour has been an absolute dream come true. I had asked you I guess a few weeks ago now. I'm just I can't believe that you were free and able to come and join me tonight. Um, and can you tell everyone where they can find you? Do you have any? Do you do like social media? Do you do like a Instagram or anything like that where people can follow
yeah,
you on as well?
I do. So I have two Facebook pages, my personal, which of course people can add me if they would like, and then I have the one they can follow. It's either under Lacey Lacey Grantz Grantz. You could also again type in @ the road lace traveled, and on Facebook that will pull up for you. And then if you go on Instagram, it's either Lacey Grantz or @ the road lace traveled. So I have two pages there as well. So
Do you do those updates like daily whenever you do the
pretty often, at least a few times a week.
a few times a week? Perfect.
Either, and on my Instagram one, I do post a lot of my travel photos, kind of in between my writing. So
Yeah, and you have some of the most amazing photos. So follow her everywhere she goes because she's gonna be worth watching. And when are you gonna try and have this book finished?
So I did set a goal to try to finish it by the end of this year, which is a pretty,
That's coming up, girl.
I,
But
you know,
you've been writing. You've been writing.
yes, I've been writing, but that goal has put me at upwards of 10,000 words a week to get done. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's a pretty, it's a tough goal, but it's doable because anything I put my mind to, I can make it happen.
That's
But
right.
if not by the end of the year, I know at the beginning of next year I'll get it done. So.
Fantastic. Well, Lacey, again, thank you so much for doing this with me tonight. It's been a pleasure to talk with you. And we're gonna have to catch up, and we're gonna have to keep up now. And
piano lessons.
yes, absolutely. Well, thank you for doing this with me tonight. I'm gonna be taking next week off, so stick around. We're gonna be doing our Christmas show on the 23rd. All right. Anyway, I love you, Lacey. It's so good to chat with you. You have a great night. Okay.
You too.
Bye, everybody.